Hello everyone, I'm Natalia Bilbao, and here's what's happening in LA this week. A new ordinance was recently introduced at City Council, and it has the full support of Council President Nury Martinez and Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell. The proposal would require Angelenos to provide proof of COVID-19 vaccinations when visiting indoor public spaces such as restaurants, gyms, and sporting events. Take a look.
Move on to item 19. This was an item that was introduced by myself and Mr. O'Farrell.
We've moved forward the drafting of an ordinance that will require proof of vaccination before entering into an indoor space that's open to the public.
So we need to ensure that we're doing everything possible in the city of Los Angeles, that businesses are doing everything they can to also ensure that the folks going into their businesses are vaccinated and they're not putting anyone else at risk.
This country has a long tradition of vaccinations, whether it be smallpox or polio or any number of vaccinations. When a baby's 2 months old, they get their first round of vaccinations. This is a nation that believes in vaccinations. We have eradicated smallpox, polio, and many other diseases through the years. When I was in first grade, my best friend Ralph had an older sister who had one leg shorter than the other. She wore leg braces as a child because she had polio when she was very, very young, before Jonas Salk invented the polio vaccine and before it became widely available in the late 50s into the early 60s. The people who are alive and well today have an advantage over Ralph's sister. She didn't have access to the polio vaccine because it wasn't invented yet. We have a vaccine that can prevent people from getting ill and suffering the long-term COVID effects that people are now living with. We're dealing with Delta right now, but what's next? An Epsilon or Theta or whatever the next alphabet letter is? I want everyone to realize that free vaccinations are widely available. There's no reason you cannot be vaccinated. Everyone who's eligible in LA City, in LA County, and in my district can become vaccinated. So let us help you if you need help. It's time to get serious about this, and it's time to show real leadership at the local level on how we can keep people healthy, well, and our economy strong.
Councilmember Kevin DeLeon led a press conference recognizing the passage of his Away Home plan. The initiative outlines the strategy for Los Angeles to rapidly develop at least 25,000 homeless housing resources by 2025. And Councilmember DeLeon's Away Home plan is getting lots of support.
For too many 41,000 Angelenos, homelessness can become an outdoor prison from which they can't break free or escape. Today, the City Council committed to creating and developing 25,000 new housing homeless units to get our unhoused Angelenos a roof over their heads by the year 2025. Now, I've seen through the lives of my constituents the horrors of being unhoused and living on the streets, especially for women and children. If LA, the second largest city in America, if LA is the nation's epicenter of homelessness, then let it be very clear to each and every one of you, CD14, the district that I have the honor to represent, is ground zero. I have more unhoused individuals than every city in America except for New York City.
Living on the streets is not a safe place for anyone to lay their heads at any time. This should not be acceptable any place around our city. Not across from City Hall, not down the street, not around the corner, not across town. It should not be, and we just have to do better.
We need to protect families from eviction that we know is imminent as a result of the financial constraints that have been caused by this pandemic. And there is far more work that we need to do to triage individuals from falling into homelessness. And that is the collective responsibility of every legislative body, whether you're in the halls of local government, whether you're in the state legislature, or in the Capitol. There's no more greater moment in time for us to be leading these very difficult and important conversations than right now.
Councilmember Nithya Raman recently teamed up with the LA Regional Food Bank for a free grocery giveaway. Many grateful Angelinos who attended the event echoed a common experience, one of our city's most persistent problems, food insecurity.
This morning we are doing a food distribution in partnership with the Westfield Fashion Square Mall to help distribute food that was here from the LA Food Bank.
Food prices have gone up precipitously, and any kind of help I can get, I'm all for it. So I think it's a brilliant idea.
Bastante, porque nos mandan, somos pensionados y es muy poco dinero que nos mandan de lo que trabajamos, entonces nos ayuda para nuestros gastos de casa.
A lot of people who have had trouble maintaining their employment through this or have had trouble paying their rent have also struggled with food insecurity. Food insecurity was not a new problem. It actually didn't result from the pandemic, but the pandemic enabled them to find the support that they needed.
Oh, pues me beneficia mucho ya de que pues el cheque que me llega de mi pensión es muy poca y esto me ayuda mucho para ayudarme para la comida, los alimentos, la nutrición.
I think this kind of program where you're giving food directly to people needs to become a much more widespread and regular part of our city's work.
Events like this give people an opportunity to have a hand in what goes on in their neighborhood. It gives them an opportunity to be the change that they want to see and serve.
You can definitely go to Councilmember Raman's website and you can find out more about these events. I know they held another event like this in the Mid-Wilshire area, and they're going to continue to do that. Making sure people have enough to eat is kind of a very basic need that the Councilmember's office and the volunteers here are helping to provide.
Councilmember Kern Price and his staff recently loaded up the residents of Council District 9 with barbecue, back-to-school gear, and a refresher course on the basics of pandemic safety awareness. Check this out.
We're here at a backpack extravaganza for our kids and for our families. We're partnering with Voices Neighborhood Council and other community-based organizations, just providing information to our community, providing resources to assist them in the new school year. We've got some refreshments, we've got some games, so it's going to be a real festive occasion here at Vermont Square Park.
It's a pretty good event for the community, especially for people that are in low-income society, that it's really hard for them to get stuff for their kids in hard times like right now.
We're still stressing the importance of getting the vaccine, and still you got to wear your mask, social distancing. We want to be smart, but we want to re-energize our community again.
La verdad, perdí dos tíos debido al COVID. So, ellos no tuvieron la oportunidad de vacunarse y lo hice por ellos.
Please protect yourself, protect your family, protect our community. Get vaccinated and do the right thing.
The Angelino Corps offers young LA residents career training. The city targets local businesses for opportunities, and Recicla offers a handful of helpful recycling reminders. These stories up next on City Beat.
Applications are now being taken for Mayor Garcetti's newly formed Angelino Corps program. Angelino Corps is a 10-month program that offers hands-on work experience and educational support for 18 to 24-year-olds living in Los Angeles. Corps members work part-time and earn $1,000 a month. Participants will do work within various career fields such as tutors, arts educators, helping immigrant Angelinos, helping reduce the digital divide, or as support for community-based health and environmental justice programs. The Corps was conceived with the goal of addressing the harsh impacts of the pandemic on economically and racially segregated communities in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles City Council recently approved the restructuring of the Bureau of Contract Administration's citywide bid preference programs. Under the new Local Business Preference Program, local small businesses are more easily identified as local with the potential to win city contracts through preferential criteria. The new ordinance combines 3 existing programs to create consistent certification requirements. The The program aims to encourage small and large businesses to compete for city contracting opportunities and to encourage more businesses to maintain local operations. Do you rinse soiled plastics before placing them in your blue recycle bin? This is one of the many friendly tips Recycla offers in their ongoing campaign to help raise recyclability awareness in the city of Los Angeles. Soiled materials in the recycling bin can contaminate glass, plastics, and otherwise recyclable paper and cardboard that's in a bin with it. By making sure items in the blue bins are not soiled, you are ensuring that all your recycling efforts pay off, helping the city and the environment.
Conservation is a key component in the LA Zoo's goal to shape a better future for wildlife, humans, and our shared world. Maria Hallbrown sits down with Director of Conservation, Dr. Jake Owens, to discuss how the zoo plans to achieve the global impact that it is aiming for in the 21st century.
The practical definition of a zoo, if you look it up in the dictionary, says a facility in which animals are confined within enclosures, displayed to the public, and which they may also be bred. I think things are changing, are they not? Or am I mistaken that zoos seem to be moving away from just that one mission and expanding a mission to be far more supportive to animals around the world?
You know, we have these animals here at the zoo so that people come in and they support the conservation work. So that's, from my perspective, a big point of those animals that are here at the zoo. We have Asian elephants, they're very endangered, and so we have a long history of engagement in Asian elephant conservation.
Right.
Indian gharial. Gharial are these crocodilians. They're longest crocodiles, so they get about 20 feet long. They get these really narrow snout for catching fish, but there are fewer than 700 of them left. They live in northern India. So we actually work with two groups there, Madras Crocodile Bank Trust and Wildlife Trust of India on their conservation, and so increasing that. But there are species, obviously, the need is really great.
The City of Los Angeles is proud to launch the first ever LA Zoo Conservation Strategic Plan.
Just recently launched an initiative, which is a very, very bold conservation initiative.
We took the time to develop this really strong plan, and we've got 6 key focal areas.
Okay.
So that's social and environmental justice, California conservation, human and wildlife coexistence, illegal wildlife trade, evidence-based conservation, and reintroduction or conservation translocations. So there's these 6 key focal areas that we have decided, based on a variety of reasons, that we need to really hone in on and focus on because of the strengths of the zoo, the strengths of the city, our location in California, Los Angeles, and a variety of other reasons. And the big focus for the last year globally has been the kind of social outcry about inequality, and that's actually really tied to conservation and conservation success. And a lot of conservation has realized this over the last decade or so, and so we're focusing on these key areas, but there's also this thread of remembering humans in conservation that kind of goes throughout.
The Housing Authority of the City of LA is charged with providing affordable housing in the City of Los Angeles. In fact, Hackla is one of the nation's oldest public housing authorities. And if that job weren't big enough, the agency is now responsible for administering the emergency housing vouchers authorized by the American Rescue Plan of 2021. A lot to unpack, right? Well, fortunately, Hackla's manager, Ramina White, took a little time to chat with Channel 35 about the help that is on the way.
The Hackla is one of the nation's leading public housing agencies that offer affordable housing through a variety of programs such as Section 8 and public housing for the residents of the City of Los Angeles. The Emergency Housing Voucher Program is aimed towards helping Angelenos and address the homelessness issue that exists in our city. There are incentives for landlords to participate. The success of the program heavily relies on owner participation. And so with that in mind, we have signing bonuses available for owners to participate in the program. We're offering 2 times the security deposit assistance, and owners can also self-certify their housing quality standard on their units. Tenants that would like to obtain this resource, it's important that they work with the local access centers that address homelessness throughout the city. from the point of referral until a voucher is issued can take anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks. And then you'll have 120 days on your voucher with some allowable extensions if you need them. And then once you find a unit and the request for tenancy approval begins, that process can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to get you all leased up and housing assistance payments going to the landlord. Hackla aims to address not only homelessness in the city, but also to provide affordable housing solutions to folks that need it. Landlords are very important. They have units that we could use to get folks off of the street, provide stability. These are some of the things that I think are really important, and that Hackla is a solution to many of the problems that exist here in our city. And affordability is an issue, homelessness is an issue, and we want to ensure that we can be a solution to these issues.
Back to school. It's more than just an event, it's a season. And in the true spirit of that season, Councilmember Mark Ridley Thomas joins Mothers in Action for their annual backpack and school supplies giveaway. Because, as we all know, preparing our kids for success is always in season.
Estamos con la organización de Mothers in Action y yo soy de Brotherhood Crusade. Ahí estamos entregando cosas para la escuela, mochilas, lápices, todo lo que necesita para la escuela.
Well, this is a very important event in the life of our communities. Mothers in Action, they have made this an annual event. I've supported it for many years, and I'm pleased to be a supporter along with my colleagues again today.
Our mission is to improve the quality of life of the underserved families and children in our community. We're expected to give out 1,000 backpacks today. We've already given out 500.
It's a way of saying school is important, community is important, family is important. So we all come together to celebrate those kind of values and say, let's make the best of the future that we can possibly make it.
It's a good way for the kids to get their resources without tapping into the money that they need for utilities and other things, especially during this pandemic.
Pues porque ayuda a los gastos que ahorita está muy difícil.
You're quite welcome.
Me dieron mochilas, nos dieron máscaras, nos dieron galletas. Pues honestamente estoy muy agradecida porque ahorita con lo de la pandemia, los niños, pues yo no estoy trabajando. Me está ayudando a ayudarme a recordar lo que iba a gastar cuando ellos regresan para atrás a las clases. So, me estoy ahorrando ese dinero.
También estamos dando información sobre COVID-19 y de la vacuna y también de las pruebas de COVID-19.
If you want to do the right thing, get vaccinated. It's simple, it's easy, it's available, it's free. If we're not vaccinated, we put kids at risk, we put loved ones at risk, we put our fellow employees and co-workers at risk. So our first step is to do the right thing. Don't give up your shot, get vaccinated.
People don't have the funds to buy, especially after COVID, and they're helping the community. We're the community, it's very important.
Education is fundamentally important to the life of the future generations, and we need to invest in it in every way possible, and this is one of those investments.
For many South LA kids, the school year is just beginning. But for one lucky group of kids in District 10, the academic achievement happens year-round. Councilmember Mark Ridley Thomas's summer bioscience program was designed to create new career pathway opportunities for students of color. And a handful of students at Girls Academic Leadership Academy were given that opportunity this summer. Take a look.
We're the first all-girls public school in the state of California. It focuses on science, technology, engineering, and math. There are about 78% girls of color, and they come from 81 zip codes around Los Angeles.
Our office reached out to Dr. Hicks. We wanted to identify an opportunity to bring enrichment programming to a school. We have a bioscience focus in our office, and so that's what we wanted to be able to do with the enrichment.
So the camp that we've been having the last 2 weeks has really helped our girls get excited about science.
This bioinnovation lab is an opportunity to introduce students at a young age to bioscience, and we're trying to build the pipeline of workforce so that they can enter those careers.
I've really been interested in the STEM field. I wanted to go into this especially since I want to be a surgeon, and I thought this was a really great opportunity. As somebody who's got really bored of looking at textbooks and just reading questions and writing all answers for science, coming to a school that you get to see all the machines, the science that you're learning, it's more than just words on a page.
They did a DNA research project that was a whodunit, so they got to figure out at a crime scene who had done the crime by doing experiments.
I come from more of a tough background, a low income, poverty family. I lost my parents along the way, so I've been putting myself through school, and it kind of inspired me hey, maybe I can go to a big school, do bigger things. And that allowed me to go up to where I am currently. Actually a student at UCLA, and even 3 years ago, I would have never thought that could have happened.
Pues cuando crezco quiero ser una doctora de corazón. Quiero saber los problemas del corazón, quiero saber cómo resolverlos, y quiero saber todo el corazón, me interesa mucho.
And so I believe that this is really going to help our girls to go on and succeed in those fields and come back to the city of LA, we hope, and be leaders in the biotech field.
Ever since Councilmember Curran Price announced a string of Saturday extravaganzas for the entire month of August, Vermont Square Park has been the place to be on weekends. This past weekend, South LA residents were treated to pizza, popcorn, and a fun family movie under the stars.
Tonight is the kickoff of our Summer Saturdays Extravaganza here at Vermont Square Park. We're starting off with having movie night, and every Saturday for the month of August, we're going to have an event here. Activities like this encourage a sense of coming together. They encourage getting to know one another, especially coming out of a pandemic where we couldn't go out and celebrate or hang out together. In each bag there are bananas, popcorn, cotton candy, chips, cookies, water, everything you would need for a good movie night. And we also have some pizza as well.
Pues venimos de aquí a un evento gratuito que nos enteramos, pues una película al aire libre, con nuestra familia cercana aquí estamos y los niños jugando, algo gratuito en la comunidad, y pues venimos a ver nuestro primer año aquí.
Hope to see you here.
In our feature story this week, we meet a Los Angeles native with an impressive career in public service. She first took public office in 2004 as a member of the California State Assembly representing the 47th District. In 2019, she introduced the Student Loan Fairness Act to help address the growing student loan debt crisis. In 2020, she co-authored the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which would ban chokeholds, carotid holds, and no-knock warrants. Currently, she represents California's 37th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives. Maria Hall-Brown sits down with Congresswoman Karen Bass.
Well, she's currently serving her 6th term in Congress. Prior to that, she was part of the California State Assembly. As a matter of fact, she made history as the first African-American woman to serve as Speaker in any U.S. legislative state body. I am honored to be joined today by Congressmember Karen Bass. So lovely to have you here.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. You have been serving in Congress, as I mentioned, for this is your 6th term. How are things going there?
Well, I will tell you, it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Okay.
There are issues that I know it will shock people that we work on in a bipartisan manner.
That's nice to hear.
But actually, since January 6th, it was a pretty profound change. I mean, the violence that happened at the Capitol that shook all of us has led to increased polarization. And so I think that part of it has been bad. But we do work on issues together. For example, one of the key issues I work on is trying to change the nation's child welfare system. And that's an issue that I work very closely with my Republican colleagues. I also focus on foreign policy. So when it comes to a lot of foreign policy issues, we do that in a bipartisan manner. It's just that what gets all of the attention is when we don't get along, not when we do get along.
Well, there's so much to talk to you about, but top of mind, of course, is the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which you introduced in February.
My job was to get it out of the House. That job was finished on March 3rd, and it has been languishing in the Senate. But what my concern is that a year plus later, since the murder of George Floyd, the momentum is actually going in the other direction because crime has ticked up, which was completely predictable. So what I'm worried about is that the best time for us to have passed that bill was when there were hundreds of thousands of people on the street.
And the main points in that bill that you feel most passionate about that really need to be addressed, what would you say they are?
It's the part of the bill that holds officers accountable, because I think all of us are tired of seeing these awful videos. But I also think that the profession of policing needs to be uplifted. So part of the bill also calls for accreditation and training. Do you know that we have 18,000 police departments in the country and 18,000 ways of doing policing?
Right.
So in some cities, chokeholds are illegal, in other cities they're fine. And so it's about uplifting the profession, creating standards. You would think that the profession that has the power to take away your freedom and take away your life, there should be a lot more accountability there.
I really do mean this. It's been an honor and a privilege to spend this time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Likewise.
Try your hand at screen printing. Check out the latest entry from the Los Angeles Public Library's artist series, LA Made, or attend the return of the DTLA Proud Festival. All this up next on Things to Do.
Join multimedia artist Luis Antonio Quintero III for Screen Printing with Trey. Artist Quintero, also known as Trey, will teach participants how to screen print on tote bags and t-shirts. Participants will be given one tote bag each and are encouraged to bring other cloth articles to silkscreen. Silkscreen equipment and paint will be provided for use during the workshop. This 3-hour event is for anyone 8 years old and up. Tickets are limited and available for $5 per person. Don't miss Screen Printing with Trey, on site at Angels Gate Cultural Center on Saturday, August 28th from 2 to 5 p.m. For more info, visit angelsgateart.org. The Los Angeles Public Library wants you to enjoy another installment from the LA Artist series, LA Made, The History of Black Dance in America. Join dancer, choreographer, and dance historian Ron Parker as he explores the little-known history of the most popular American social dances. Discover why the history of black dance is the history of American popular dance. LA Made, The History of Black Dance in America streams Thursday, August 26th at 4 p.m. To register for the webinar, visit lapl.org/events. You are invited to DTLA Proud, LA's beloved grassroots LGBTQ+ festival. DTLA Proud will launch with all ages entertainment plus a special screening of their full-length documentary, Proud in a Pandemic. Saturday and Sunday, the celebration will feature a diverse array of stage performances, DJs, local bars, art installations, and LGBTQ+ vendors. Capacity will be limited, so purchase your tickets today. The DTLA Proud Festival makes its triumphant return to Pershing Square August 27th through 29th. For more information, visit dtlaproud.org. And that's a look at some things to do.
And that's it for this edition. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.